Hello, and my name is Jack Coglin, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about Tesla and their launch of the Roadster into space, putting it into orbit, and how that PR worked out and how they were able to achieve record influence with no or hardly any money spent for PR objectives and their model and how they use PR to actually push innovation and have people adopt their core beliefs. So, Tesla was at a time competing to be the world's largest electric vehicle manufacturer. They were competing against BYD, ticker BYDDY, which is a Warren Buffett invested company, Chinese company that was putting out a lot of electric vehicles at the time. And Tesla was really needing to focus on getting the end consumer to purchase the vehicle, which became kind of a big goal of theirs because the idea of it is interesting and people are interested in the idea, but will they actually adopt it? And this is where the PR objectives come in. And Elon is, for the most part, solely their PR team. They have been gutting their PR team for a long time now, and they use like Twitter and various PR stunts that Elon supposedly comes up with, and he communicates directly to the audience, which for Tesla works very well. And we're going to go into a little bit later why I think this works very well for companies that are focused on innovation because it inspires people and brings them together to actually adopt the product. Um, yeah, so February 6th was when the maiden launch of the Falcon Heavy was happening. So they decided to put Elon Musk's Roadster up into space with the Falcon Heavy and have it orbit and essentially just have that be part of the show for the maiden launch of the Falcon Heavy and also incorporate little PR in there for Tesla. So some important facts you can see here that Hyundai and companies like Lincoln and Jaguar spend a significant amount of money per car in terms of advertising expenses. Tesla in 2018 spent $3 as compared to 2018 for Hyundai is 4,000. And in 2019, they actually spent zero. So they've been working towards a PR strategy that requires essentially zero advertising cost. And if the CEO is willing to put in that work to communicate with the public, like Elon is, and to use outside of the box stunts, obviously having SpaceX and Tesla put them in a very specific position, but I'm more talking of outside of the box PR objectives and ways to achieve PR objectives that create this very low cost for advertising, but yet it still is effective. In 2018, uh, Tesla was competing against BYD, which we talked about, as you can see in the graph to the right. Um, they didn't surpass until Q1 2019. They didn't surpass BYD. In 2018 is when the launch of the Falcon Heavy happened. So you can see that the PR objective is the timing of it, at least, is correlated with Tesla surpassing BYD and getting a lot more people to purchase cars rather than just be interested in them. And just to kind of paint the picture a little bit more about kind of where Tesla was at, they had a record year for revenue and a record net loss that year. So it kind of put them at a standstill, and they needed to do something because they knew they were picking up traction, but they were also spending a lot of money, and they needed to get more people to actually buy the cars, and they needed to do that very cheaply because they were already losing a lot of money due to other reasons that did not have to do with the PR and advertising, but they certainly couldn't afford those expenses given the losses, and they still needed people to want to purchase it, which is why it's so crucial to have a strategy in PR when you have an innovative company that allows you to generate influence and generate earned and owned media that the public responds to, but doing so in the most cost effective way possible. And a lot of that is direct channels via social media or a newsletter if you have that type of following. And it's really just company specific, but with innovative products like this, it helps to have a cost effective strategy to uh, get interaction with minimal barrier to entry. And they wanted to obviously create positive sentiment across the board, right? For investors, employers, or employees, rather, and customers. They were mainly focused on having that customer be excited about the product and wanting to purchase it. And they didn't want to spend a lot of money doing it. And they wanted to be talked about. They wanted to be the talk of the town, so to speak, in the automotive world for doing these new things. And they had a newsworthy story because it was innovation. So they leveraged that to get a lot of free PR. And their back was up against the wall with BYD. They were kind of racing them, and so their goal was, sooner or later we're going to have to be the largest electric vehicle manufacturer. So were these objectives met? In 2020, Tesla produced 500,000 vehicles, and they delivered just shy of 500,000 vehicles. And that made them the largest electric vehicle manufacturer and the largest sales in the world by far. So the business objective was certainly met. And they ranked third for the total number of mentions on social media out of the 29 largest automobile manufacturers. But if you look at the money spent versus Tesla by the other automobile manufacturers, you start to see that what they were doing was far more effective and also cost effective than the other competitors. And they wanted to increase investor relations along with customers and other people, but the stock has increased annually since 2017, 45%, which is insane returns. So there's definitely a lot of positive investor sentiment around this stock. Um, they did not pay any money for social media exposure. So that was a big plus to these campaigns, and owning multiple companies is you have the opportunity to kind of marry them together and set this message for innovation and setting. I think that's an important PR objective for a lot of innovative companies, is just getting people to see that believing in your company is being on the right side of history and making the right decision in terms of what's best for our planet. And I think that's an important message that companies need to get across when they're focused on things like innovation. The stakeholders were employees, shareholders, and Tesla customers, most importantly. People that this PR stunt was trying to invoke inspiration within them. Employees are crucial. They want to believe that they're working for the right company, that their effort is really going towards something. Shareholders want to be promised the innovation. Tesla's a growth stock, right? So They want to be promised that they're on the forefront of innovation. Putting one of the cars up in the sky is a really great way of doing it. And Tesla customers, right? The main reason they were doing this entire thing was just to get more people to buy Tesla cars. They were, losing to BYD. They needed to flat out just get more customers to instead of being just excited about the product and talking about it, they wanted them to actually purchase the car. And that was the most important thing. This is the target audience I had for Tesla. A little bit about this. I chose the demographics that I did given statistical features and various methods of research. And it came out that, the majority of Tesla drivers are people of this demographic, and the majority of these investors are institutional and, around that age. And this is really who they're trying to convince. This is their core group of people right here. This is the main customer demographic, the main investor demographic. They really need these people to believe in them. And that's why they put that car up in the sky, because they wanted people of this demographic to believe in what they were doing, because it would drive sales and it would drive investor sentiment. And these were two of the main goals for this whole PR stunt. And they were able to achieve this with great success with no advertising cost. So this was a huge undertaking and it really paid off for Tesla. Everything that they did, they really just did very excellently. The PR objectives were met. They helped Tesla, gather far more sales than they had before the PR stunt. It's not all correlated directly necessarily, but it's the overall narrative of the company. And this is just a milestone in their PR, was putting this car up in space. But it's really the entire story that they're pushing, right? Whether it be Elon doing an interview or the CTO of Tesla doing an interview, these people are trying to push innovation and they're trying to show that they're on the forefront of innovation, and they're trying to get institutional investors and customers to believe in them so they can generate sales and they can generate positive investor sentiment. That's really what they're looking to go for here. And boy, did they achieve it within these past couple of years. So after looking at this as a PR professional, I see a lot of things that Tesla did to disrupt the industry and kind of change the way people looked at it. I think this direct channel from CEO to customer is something that hasn't been done regularly before. We see this type of interaction more in politics, quite frankly, than we do in public companies, but it worked for them. And you can see it in the numbers. And this might not be the best strategy for every company focused on innovation, but certainly there's notes to be taken about their PR strategy and how you can apply it to your company. There's things that you can do, right, to achieve these objectives with very minimal cost. And part of that is building a following and having people believe in you and believe in your company and believe in the people at your company. And if you're a company that is focused on innovation largely, you're not going to have a lot of advertising costs. You're not going to have a lot of PR costs, or expenses, rather. You're going to need to be bootstrapping it and doing it on your own. And the faster you build a community and you set up an environment where you can get your message out to the people who care quickly and fast and have them enthusiastically listen to what you're saying and take it to heart and share with others, That's really what you need, and you need to build that network quickly, and it will really pay dividends in the long run. So thank you, and please subscribe if you are interested in more videos. Let me know in the comments if you want to hear anything else. Thank you.